going on, guys? Instant Death Mouse here. I've got a message to new reloaders from a new reloader. I've been reloading for a few months now, so I'm not like a professional or anything. If you're new to reloading and you don't have someone to show you the basics, look at forums, look at YouTube videos. There's a bunch of different things online you can look at. But they won't tell you everything you need to know. And I'm not going to be able to tell you everything you need to know because as a new reloader I don't know it all. But what I will say is do not get ahead of yourself. I first got the reloader, I got it set up, and the weekend directly after I got it set up, it was raining. So anything that I made, I couldn't test. And also when you're testing and reloading, be sure you write your stuff down. Because it'll come in handy like, well, was this load working? I don't know, let me go back and look. It was like 4.3 grains of powder the powder that I use is too light. It will not cycle through my pistol. Well, I got a bit ahead of myself that weekend. You know, I was excited, got my powder and everything. And what I've started doing after this is finding a range of low to high and making 10 rounds of low, 10 rounds of medium, 10 rounds of high. Then going out, waiting and going out and testing. And it's a pain waiting, I know it. But I didn't care, I just wanted to make some. I figured what I found on the internet would be right. I wouldn't have to test it. Well, you can see this group here. There's a bag here full of brass and a bag here full of bullets, tubes full of bullets here. There's some there, some there, some more. Just right here is 300 rounds. And I have probably another 100 right here and another 200 that I've already pulled. So about 500 rounds of ammunition that I cannot use because it will not cycle through my weapons. So, instead of actually reloading and going out and having fun shooting, I'm sitting here time after time taking a live round, loading it into what's meant to be a reloader, and I am unloading. Taking the brass, throw it in there. Because it's clean brass, it's good brass, it's already got a primer in it. There's just not enough powder. So, taking the bullet out, put it in this bag. Now, since I've made this, I did stop and actually test these out, figure out they didn't work before I went and reloaded everything that I had. And so I figured out those didn't work. I came back and I made some other ones and they worked a little bit better, and I only made about 50 rounds of those, and then I made a box of 50 with a little bit higher, and they were almost there, but they weren't quite factory, you know, mixed with factory ammunition. And then I went up another step, and now when I run factory ammunition with my reloads, I cannot tell which one is which until the brass is kicked out. But that's just One thing I wanted to say is don't get ahead of yourself. Be patient. And don't make the same mistake I did. Now when you are reloading, you will have some mess ups. Like, these are some 45s that I was doing. And they went in a little crooked. I don't know if you can see. But right here, it's like folded in. You can pull those, you can reuse the brass, the powder, and the primer, but you cannot reuse the bullet because it will come out looking like that. Also, when you are reloading, make sure that the bullet seat die is actually lined up with the case when you go to set the bullet. Or if you're just running some through to check powder, make sure that the bullet, like let's say you put one in, pull it down, pop the primer out, push it around, get a new primer in, come up to get powder, and you want to check it. Well, don't pull a bullet in, you just keep going and it'll pop out. If the case is not lined up with the bullet seat die, the bullet seat die will grab the edge of the case and turn it into something that looks like this. So, I've got 2 pieces of brass here that look kind of like that. This one's a bit further gone than this one, because this one I realized what was happening, but they've got good primers in them that I can't reuse because they won't go into the resizing die. So, there's 2 pieces of brass that I can't use. And also, if you do reload 45, you want to make sure that you keep an eye on which type of brass you use, because Winchester brass and Blazer brass, and Winchester's here, this is the Blazer, they use 2 different size primer. This is a large primer and that's a small primer. The small primers are the same ones used in the 9mm. These are used in large caliber pistols like the 45. But the 45 uses both. Just make sure you check your brass to see which one is which. I know my area is a little bit messy, but I got some new stuff today. Like my bullet pullers, because I have been using a hammer and it's been taking me about 2 hours to pull 50, and so far I've pulled about maybe 75 to 100 in roughly 30 minutes. And I got the Rcbs bullet puller that uses the collets, and you gotta buy the collets separate. The only thing is, when I bought this one, there was no, they have for 20 caliber, basically it's for using rifle cartridges, because they have a little bit more bullet to grab onto to make them pull easier. You got your 22, 45, and for the 9mm 38 357, you can use the .348 caliber collet, and it works fine. Let's see, pull this one up. There's literally no scarring, does nothing to damage the bullet, and it's just enough to grab. And it makes a small indent, kind of looks like a scratch on it, but you just get that from messing around with it. Other than that, that's all I got for today.